found a tube, and the minute I opened it, the smell transported me through time.
This one's wife. I never knew Harry or the royal family. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. It's time once again to consider an oft-vaunted rumour about this one's wife, to put both sides of the argument and to make a determination as to whether this was true or not. The allegation that this one's wife did not know about Prince Harry or the royal family before meeting and marrying him stems primarily from this one's wife's own public statements, which have been repeated across multiple high-profile interviews, documentaries, and books. This claim has become a focal point of controversy surrounding the Duchess of Sussex, sparking debates about her credibility, cultural background, and intentions when entering the British royal family. Critics argue that her assertions of ignorance are implausible given her prior public persona as a blogger and actress with apparent interests in celebrity and royalty, while supporters maintain that her American upbringing and personal choices make her claims entirely believable. At its core, the allegation is not that others accused her of ignorance, but rather this one's wife herself positioned her entry into royal life as one of naivety and surprise. This narrative has been used to frame her experiences within the monarchy as overwhelming and unprepared, contributing to broader discussions about institutional racism, media scrutiny, and family dynamics within the House of Windsor. The claim first gained widespread attention during her engagement interview in 2017 and was reiterated in subsequent media appearances, fueling both sympathy and scepticism. The allegation originated directly from this one's wife's statements during her November 2017 engagement interview with the BBC's Michelle Hussein, shortly after Prince Harry proposed. Accordingly, with regard to this particular rumour, it's based on what she actually said and was recorded saying. Therefore, her supporters cannot deny what she stated. In the interview, this one's wife explained her lack of familiarity with the British royal family, attributing it to her American background. She stated, "Because I'm from the States, you don't grow up with the same understanding of the royal family. And so while I now understand very clearly there's a global interest there, I didn't know much about him," meaning Harry, "so the only thing that I had asked, our mutual friend, when she said we want to set you up was, well, is he nice? Because if he wasn't kind, if it just didn't seem like it would make sense." This set the tone for her narrative. Namely, she entered the relationship without preconceived notions or extensive research. She didn't know about the royal family or Harry. The claim was amplified in March 2021 during the couple's explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey. This one's wife elaborated, saying she didn't grow up knowing much about the royal family and that it wasn't something that was part of the conversation at home. It wasn't something that we followed. She emphasised going into the relationship naively, admitting she had never looked up Harry online or researched the monarchy deeply. The interview, watched by over 50 million people globally, turned the allegation into a cultural talking point, with this one's wife portraying herself as an outsider thrust into a complex institution without preparation. Further reinforcement came in the December 2022 Netflix docuseries Harry and This One's Wife, where she recounted her first meeting with Queen Elizabeth II, comparing it to a medieval times dinner theatre and expressing shock at having to curtsy, claiming no one had taught her. She also mentioned Googling the British national anthem after joining the family, underscoring her lack of prior knowledge. Prince Harry supported this in his 2023 memoir Spare, writing that this one's wife knew practically nothing about his family and definitely hadn't Googled us, citing an instance where she mistook Prince Andrew for the Queen's assistant. The allegations' origins are thus self-sourced, emerging from this one's wife and Harry's controlled narratives to humanise their story and highlight the challenges of royal life. However, it quickly became fodder for tabloid scrutiny, with outlets like the Daily Mail compiling proof of contradictions as early as 2018. Social media amplified it, with Reddit threads and X posts debating its veracity, often framing it as evidence of deception. By 2023, it had evolved into a trope, as Vanity Fair described, symbolising broader media tropes about women in power being scrutinised for authenticity. Critics trace the allegation's contentious rise to cultural differences. Americans, they argue, are less immersed in royal law than Britons, making this one's wife's claims plausible. Yet its persistence stems from royal watchers' disbelief, fueled by books like Tom Bauer's Revenge, which alleges premeditated interest in royalty. Evidence supporting the theory that this one's wife truly did not know much about Prince Harry or the royal family before meeting him is rooted in her personal accounts, cultural context, and corroborating statements from Harry and others. This side emphasises her American perspective, where the British monarchy is often viewed as distant entertainment rather than a daily cultural fix, and highlights her deliberate choice not to research as a sign of genuine intent. Firstly, her own repeated assertions from the bedrock. In the 2017 interview, she clarified her limited knowledge stemmed from geography. "I'm from the States, you don't grow up with the same understanding." Then in the Oprah interview, "I didn't fully understand what the job was," and a denial of researching Harry online, preferring to learn directly from him. In Harry and This One's Wife, she described her surprise at royal protocols, like curtsying, saying, "I didn't know what I was doing." These statements have remained consistent. Nevertheless, of course, this may well be her narcissism for once maintaining consistency with regard to this particular statement, which many regard as a lie. Harry's memoir, Spare, provides direct support, detailing how This One's Wife's ignorance was evident in interactions. He recounts her mistaking Prince Andrew for an aide, writing, "She definitely hadn't Googled us." He also notes her lack of preconceptions allowed for a fresh relationship, untainted by media narratives. The insider perspective counters accusations of lying, as Harry would have intimate knowledge of her pre-relationship awareness. However, what was written in Spare does not necessarily have veracity. First of all, if it was written by Harry, we all know how much he is influenced by This One's Wife, and also how he would want to be supportive of her. And therefore, even if it was the case that she knew about him beforehand, he would maintain that air of innocence and denial in order to support her. Secondly, there's also the suggestion that This One's Wife had very much a hand in the writing of Spare. Parts pass him for discussion on that point, and therefore it would come as no surprise that Harry corroborated, in inverted commas, her version of events. There are cultural and demographic factors that support her view. As an American born in 1981, This One's Wife grew up during a time when US media coverage of the royals was sporadic, focused on major events like Diana's death in 1997, but not daily affairs. Vanity Fair argues it's not outlandish for Americans to lack detailed knowledge of extended royals, noting many confused titles or protocols. Therapists interviewed by Business Insider in 2021 supported not Googling dates, saying it promotes organic connections and avoids biases. This One's Wife's multicultural background, raised in Los Angeles with a focus on Hollywood, not Windsor, further distances her from a British royal obsession. Specific instances demonstrate her post-meeting learning curve. In the Netflix series, she admitted Googling God Save the Queen after her engagement, indicating no prior familiarity. However, once again, this is her own evidence, and, given the fact that she is a narcissist, we know that there will be occasions where she will tell lies or rely upon half-truths. Furthermore, as her own witness, she's not necessarily going to be the most reliable or consistent in that regard. Her comparison of meeting the Queen to a themed restaurant underscores cultural shock, believable for someone without ingrained reverence for monarchy. Friends like Serena Williams have corroborated her surprise at royal intricacies in interviews, noting This One's Wife's focus on activism over aristocracy pre-Harry. Media analyses defend her. Vanity Fair traces the "didn't Google" trope to sexist scrutiny, arguing women's past statements are weaponised unfairly. Some users point out that she never claimed zero knowledge, just not much, distinguishing awareness of Harry from deep research. Accordingly, there's no concrete proof, since much of the denial comes from her own mouth, supported by Harry, which of course is a supporting witness who could be accused of bias or might even be This One's Wife writing for herself, and cultural observations contained in pro-This One's Wife publications. What about evidence to contradict her? There's substantial evidence that challenges the theory, suggesting that this one's wife had more knowledge of Prince Harry and the royal family than she claimed. This includes pre-relationship blog posts, friend testimonies, photographs, and social connections, often cited by critics to argue her naivety narrative is selective or exaggerated. A key contradiction is this one's wife's 2014 blog post on The Tig, her lifestyle site. She discussed William and Kate's wedding, writing about endless conversation about Princess Kate and childhood dreams of being a royal rebel over Cinderella. This certainly shows familiarity with royal events and titles 2 years before meeting Harry in 2016, which clearly contradicts her "I didn't know much" claim. The post's gushing tone about Catherine implies interest in royal pomp, undermining ignorance assertions. Childhood friend Naki Priddy's statements are damning. In 2017, Daily Mail interviews, Priddy said, "This one's wife was always fascinated by the royal family and wanted to be Princess Diana 2.0. She referenced a 1996 photo of 15-year-old this one's wife posing outside Buckingham Palace during a European trip, suggesting early exposure. Priddy added this one's wife kept Diana, her true story, on her bookshelf and loved royal-themed films like The Princess Diaries, indicating long-standing interest. Bucks provided further evidence. Katie Nichols' 2018 Harry, Life, Loss and Love claims this one's wife studied Kensington Palace life and watched Diana, Charles' wedding tapes repeatedly. Tom Bower's Revenge alleges she researched royals extensively, with friends noting her British culture fascination. Royal author Robert Jobson called her disingenuous, pointing to her engagement interview where she seemed prepared for royal duties. Social connections also raise questions. This one's wife admitted knowing Princess Eugenie before Harry via mutual friend Misha Nonu, whose ex-husband knew the princes. It's also claimed that she met Prince Andrew earlier through Eugenie, implying pre-knowledge. Lizzie Cundy's memoir recounts this one's wife asking for British celebrity setups in 2013, suggesting interest in UK elites. The Daily Mail has compiled instances like her 2016 video choosing Harry over William, showing awareness. The Mirror listed 6 proven lies, including royal knowledge. Ex-posts from 2025 questioned the timelines, like Harry allegedly fighting Andrew over this one's wife pre-2016, implying earlier ties. Critics, like Angela Levin, claim her observation is idiotic, arguing global fame made ignorance impossible. This one's wife's American identity is crucial. US surveys show only 30% follow royals closely, per Pew Research, which supports her detachment. Her pre-Harry life focused on Suits and UN advocacy, not tabloids. Harry's confirmation in Spare of her ungoogled state is pivotal. Nevertheless, the TIG post specifics, critiquing royal wedding hype, reveal engaged opinion, not passing mention. Priddy's details, like Diana book ownership, suggest formative influence, corroborated by multiple outlets. Nichols' book claim videotape watching indicates preparation, while Vower alleges strategic networking. Eugenie connection implies indirect royal insight pre-2016. The various links to her involvement with Prince Andrew suggest a hidden history also, and that she saw Harry as a stepping stone. Critics argue that her shock at curtsying is simply performative, indicative of her narcissism, also given her acting background. Accordingly, those are the points on either side of the argument with regard to the proposition that this one's wife did not really know Prince Harry or the royal family prior to her involvement with him. What do you think based upon this evidence? Well, you can express your views in the comments section as always, and you can go to the channel to cast your vote following the production of this video. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.